But this is a theme with Aaron Boone teams. They don't get up for certain series. And people are going to say it's only mid-June. Sure, it's mid-June, but the Yankees are 1-5 against the Red Sox right now in 2 series. That is not acceptable when your team has 42 wins and their team was 500 going into the last game of the series.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. With me, as usual, my co-host, Brian McKeon. Brian, interesting
weekend. Christmas or Father's Day?
Yeah, I don't know. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. And if you're on TikTok, you can follow us there at LockedOn_Yankees. On today's show, we'll be previewing the Yankee series against the Angels, which begins tonight in the Bronx. A thorn in the Yankee side is traded to the NL West again, because this is a couple of times that this has happened for them. But first, God, what a horrible weekend in Boston, huh?
Yeah, weird way to feel about it because they got swept by the Red Sox, where you think Boston would be rejoicing and having fun and having a great weekend, and then all of a sudden Boston turns around and gifts the Yankees. We'll discuss it more in segment 2, but if you haven't heard, we will mention the Red Sox responded after sweeping the Yankees by trading Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants, which is just one of the crazier trades we've seen in a very long time, Stacey. And I don't understand how a player that's been heating up and has killed the Yankees for years gets traded away. So I don't know how you feel as a Yankee fan out there. You definitely don't want to get swept by the Red Sox. And the Yankees certainly didn't perform in Boston and didn't know how to score in Boston. But they got gifted at the end of the series. So it's kind of a push.
Kind of. Because it's kind of strange how things changed, because as soon as Sunday's game ended, Yankee fans were just livid, because how do you get swept in Boston when only one of the starters is actually good?
100%.
You know? And then within, an hour and a half, everything switched to where Yankee fans were rejoicing and Red Sox fans were the ones pulling their hair out. But we'll talk about that more in segment 2. Let's do the main takeaway of this series, because I have a main takeaway from the series that I need to discuss. And maybe yours is different than mine. But this is the thing that bothers me about Aaron Boone teams. It feels like this team doesn't play with the same intensity as it did under Torre and Girardi. And I'll explain why. There were guys under both of those guys, there were guys on teams that had won World Series for the Yankees. And they always wanted to get back to the World Series and win another World Series. Like, that was a goal for Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, right? And then later, Tex, Damon, like all these guys, well, not Damon because he was like gone after that, but Tex, Gardner. So these guys always played with a fire. And sure, those teams had blowouts. I mean, even in the early 2000s, I've told this story before. I was at a game in September of 2000. Remember the Yankees in 2000? They weren't that great. They won 87 games, but they won the World Series because they had the core of guys who knew what it was like to make it to the World Series and they could win the World Series. But I was sitting at a game, September of 2000, and the Yankees lost like 15-3 to the then Indians. So it's not like those teams didn't have blowout losses. They'd have games where pitchers were just like not getting it done and things would happen. But this is a theme with Aaron Boone teams. They don't get up for certain series. And people are going to say it's only mid-June. Sure, it's mid-June, but the Yankees are 1-5 against the Red Sox right now in 2 series. That is not acceptable when your team has 42 wins and their team was 500 going into the last game of the series.
Well, and to not understand and to not come into the game with any urgency against the Boston Red Sox in general. Like, sometimes as a manager in baseball, there's series where you just want to get something out of your team. It doesn't really matter that the Red Sox are 500 or a game below 500 or whatever they're doing. They're still the Red Sox. And why not get a charge out of your team? Every game counts. So why not have them come in and say, hey guys, Fenway Park, Friday night on primetime television. Let's go here. Let's pick it up. Bring some intensity. Instead, Aaron Boone didn't decide to bring some intensity into the game until late in the game when he decided to get thrown out of the game for throwing gum on a pitch that he didn't like to get the call from. And that seems to be the tactic he always uses to try and wake his boys up, is having a temper tantrum on the field in front of the umpire and getting tossed from the game, which is all good and well. Girardi certainly did that at times. Torrey did that at times. And that did give the team some fire. But the fire should be created in the locker room before the game starts. And they come out of these games super sluggish. And I'll let Friday slide because
Garrick Crochet.
You're going up against Crochet. It's one of the best. But to that credit, Judge gave you the opportunity to go out and win that game. He did. I mean, your best player came through when necessary. Crochet was at the end of the rope. Judge took him deep after 6 straight strikeouts, and you thought you had a chance of winning that game, and you wound up losing that game anyway. But the fact this team comes into big series, and this isn't the first time, Stacey, too. No. Let's also remember, last weekend, the Dodgers weekend, there's plenty of games where they come in, and they should have intensity, and they should be prepared, and they should be playing like it's the World Series, and they're running around like it's a regular game. So you can play the Royals all you want and beat up on them. And you can play the Guardians and beat up on them. And you can play all these other teams and beat up on them, and the Rockies and whatever you want. And Boone doesn't have to get them up for anything because those teams are going to beat themselves no more often than not. But to not get your players ready, and again, were these must-win games for the Yankees? No, they're fine with that. But why not try to get a charge out of your team? And to not do that is crazy.
This is another thing that makes me want to pull my hair out. You see that a certain approach at the plate isn't working with these pitchers, right? Why are you continuing that approach throughout the entire game?
And guess whose job it is to tell the players to fix that, though?
That's what I'm saying. What is happening? I don't get it. And I'm not going to totally blame Boone for this because the players should even know at this point, like, oh, okay, if you strike out against the guy twice, or, you're hitting the ball like 2 feet because the guy is pitching a certain way, don't swing at the first pitch. Try and take some pitches. Try to do something. Also, the base running mistakes.
Yeah.
You had Volpe on Friday.
I'd say sometimes when you're in the heat of the battle and you're playing through the game, it's kind of hard to get off your game plan because you have these meetings in the hotel prior and you're talking about it and it's on your iPad and this is stringent game plan you're sticking to. It's hard for you as a player to just switch off of that immediately unless you're told. So I would say in the heat of the battle, most guys I don't think that way. That they just think, all right, next at bat as a competitor, you're going to go out there and you're going to figure it out the next time. Instead of a coach going up to you and saying, hey, maybe attack on the first pitch, maybe look to attack maybe look to go get the ball up in the zone, something to change things up with the way you're doing things. Again, this isn't game 7 of the World Series. They didn't need to come in with this fire, but it's why not get that fire out of your team? Why not look for points in this year? And this is why it's a routine every single year that the Yankees seem to go on an elongated losing streak where they kind of torch their season because you lose that fire in one series, you lose your confidence, and then all of a sudden the roller coaster keeps going down and down and down, and the manager is not there to save them, and the manager is not there to get an extra bump in them and or anything. It's so ridiculous, and it's just bad managing. It is.
Yep. So 5 runs in their last 4 games. That's not gonna cut it. Not gonna win. It's not gonna win series. Obviously with the Royals, you win 1-0. Okay, but the other thing, the extra innings on the road thing. Why is this team so bad at it? They're now 12-26 in extra innings since the ghost runner was implemented.
They never score that runner.
Every time I was like, please score another run. I do not want this to go to extra innings. And as soon as it did, I said, well, this is a loss. And my brother actually got mad at me. And I said, James, when in their recent history do you feel confident that these guys are actually going to win in extra innings on the road? Well,
I want to ask too, why are we attempting to steal a base there?
I don't know.
What is moving the runner over there do for anyone? I know Volpe's a great runner. I'm not arguing that. His speed's awesome. But it's shown historically in baseball history, the advantage you get from moving a runner in scoring position from second to third base with no outs is minimal. It's a single-digit percentage of a chance of scoring. Your percentage to score goes up about 4% if you move from second to third with no outs. Why is that worth the risk? I mean, it doesn't add up to me. I don't know why you would even attempt that as an analytical organization that's so diehard by the analytics. Why would you attempt to steal a base for a 4% chance of especially when the top of your order's up? It didn't make any sense at all, because once that runner doesn't score, the Red Sox mindset completely changes once Volpe gets thrown out, because now you just got to get 2 batters out. their mindset completely changes. LeMahieu winds up getting out, gets thrown out of the game because of whatever he said to the umpire. Clearly, it was something he said.
Yeah.
But and whether that at bat was fair and whether those strike calls were right, it is kind of irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
It's all kind of irrelevant, Stacey, because whether that ball was fair, foul, whatever, all of it's irrelevant because if that runner is still on second base, you have 2 more opportunities to score him. But by getting him thrown out, the Red Sox now only need 1 more out in the inning, and then the game's kind of won at that point once you let them go to the bottom of the 10th with the runner on second base.
Yeah.
You got to put there seems to be, too, throughout the whole league, there's this pressure that goes on the home team if you score in the top of the 10th because now they have to match you, and the Yankees never put that pressure on.
Ever.
I don't get it.
No, 26 losses in extra innings since
pathetic in 38 games.
And the Yankees have really only been bad one season, and they were still above 500 that one season. They've always been competitive, and it's just unbelievable to me that when they go to extra innings on the road, it's pretty much a guaranteed loss.
With a great bullpen.
If you could bet that on FanDuel, I would say do it because it's unbelievable to me. I felt bad for the starters because they all did fine, Yeah. Like they were all great.
Yeah. And Rodon was fine. He wasn't terrific, but he was fine. Fried was excellent as usual.
Yeah. Yarbrough.
Yarbrough was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is disheartening though to get swept in a series where your 3 best starters go back to back to back. That is disheartening.
Yep. Okay. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. I noticed 2 more insiders signed up.
Yeah.
Weekend. Yeah. The link is in our description. You get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We sent out the lineups during the season, although I did make 2 mistakes this weekend because I was doing them too quickly. So shout out to the people who pointed out my mistakes. I apologize. We send out roster moves, breaking news, so you don't have to check social media. There's a 14-day free trial. All right, coming up, the thorn in the Yankee side, but more specifically Gerrit Cole's side. Rafael Devers is shipped out to the NL West. We're going to tell you all about it next.
If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time that you had a service emergency like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? No, you called the next one. And that's why having a reliable business line is so important. And that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer. Did you juggle the 2 phones just to keep business and personal calls separate? OpenPhone solved that instantly. An AI agent handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you'll never miss out on a customer again. Now, OpenPhone is offering Locked On Yankees listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers.
So we have a new way for you to leave questions on Fan Mail Friday on YouTube. You can head over to our channel's page. You click on posts, scroll down to the latest post. I will give you the deadline for the week. I haven't made up my mind yet. We'll see what it is. So this is normally when I would do, or I would announce, hey, we're doing Minors Monday, but the Rafael Devers news took over that. So Minors news will be pushed to Tuesday's show. And now we're going to talk about the trade that shocked the world because, as we said, the Yankees got swept. Yankee fans are angry. And then within an hour, everything's flipped. And now Yankee fans are rejoicing because they don't have to see Rafael Devers as much. And Red Sox fans are sitting there going, what just happened?
So there was a little bit of contention in the Red Sox clubhouse with Rafael Devers, right? He didn't want to get. He was very angry when they signed Alex Bregman because he wants to play third base. They tried to move him over to first base. He refused. He's also angry that when they called up their top prospect, a third baseman, he was aggravated. They called up a third baseman and put him in and didn't put him at third base. Rafael Devers, because of his poutiness, was playing horrible in the first month of the season and then really picked it up. Rafael Devers is a bona fide superstar in this league. He is. He's one of the top hitters in the league currently, and he got a $300 million contract 2 years ago. Deservedly so. Absolutely. I understand the Red Sox wanting him to obey the rules, follow the team lead and be a team leader and play where they need him to. Get it totally. Why you would cut off your nose to spite your face here and trade away one of your best players because he's being, quite frankly, a little brat is insane to me. At the end of the day, this might be an old school frame of mind, Stacey, but hear me out. At the end of the day, if you're the Boston Red Sox, hey, buddy, we paid you $300 million. We just changed your family's history financially for the next decades and decades and decades forever. The Devers family will never starve for food on the plate.
Oh, his grandchildren are set for life at this point.
I don't understand why you would trade away one of your best players because he doesn't want to follow the rules. Because even if he doesn't want to follow the rules, and even if he wants to be a brat, he's still hitting 300. He's still hitting 40 home runs a year. He's still having 120 RBIs a year. So let him pout and let him be aggravated. He'll sleep fine every night knowing that his $40 million a year, that check is cashing every year. I don't understand why, if you're the Red Sox, you would trade away a player like this. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm super grateful as a Yankee fan and as a Gerrit Cole fan because he kills Garrick Cole and he kills the Yankees. But this, I can't make sense of it. I don't understand. I know he was giving the Red Sox problems within the clubhouse, but Stacey, make it make sense because it's not bad enough that they traded Rafael Devers. They also got back a bucket of baseballs for him.
Pretty much. That's what the whole thing is. I can't make it make sense because it doesn't really make that much sense to me. So the Devers goes to the Giants, just him. And in return, the Red Sox get Jordan Hicks and Kyle Harrison, 2 pitchers. They get an outfield prospect named James Tibbs. And then they get Jose Bayo, a 20-year-old right-handed pitcher was playing in the Arizona Complex League, which leads you to believe he'll head over to the Florida Complex League. So he's like nothing yet because he's only 20 years old and in the lowest level. I don't understand it either. From looking at social media, for some reason I follow a lot of Giants fans. So I was seeing a lot of information about some of these guys. You know, Jordan Hicks, not doing that great, 6 ERA. Kyle Harrison, a bit better. Maybe the Red Sox think that they can work with Hicks and make him better. But when you look at this, it is a weird trade. It's really just the Red Sox just wanting to get rid of Devers. Like they really wanted to get rid of him.
They've done a really good job over the last few years with developing pitchers, the Red Sox. Their pitching lab has been really good. So they might think they can find something in Jordan Hicks. He is a top tier arm in the league and he does throw about 155 miles an hour. So there's a chance that they can
really hard.
There's a chance they think they can fix something there. So I'll give them the credit on that trade. And that's a fine guy to go pick up if you think, like, I would love it if the Yankees picked him up because Matt Blake could probably fix Jordan Hicks. So I don't hate that move at all. Another thing that's kind of a piece they're adding in in this trade, but it's not going to get reported. The Giants did eat all the money. So it's 8 years, $249 million left on the contract. That does free up with the Red Sox, who just gave Crochet an extension. They just gave Bregman a lot of money, but this was their superstar player. For all the nice players the Red Sox have on their team, Rafael Devers was their best player. So I don't understand why you would, again, if he's pouting and he's angry, sorry, man, shouldn't have signed a $300 million contract, but you signed a lot of money. We're paying you a lot of money. You're going to go up there and play. And, you know, they were doing everything imaginable, I'm sure, to keep him happy. But if at the end of the day, if he's not happy, you can't trade away your best player just to make a point, and now you're going to be worse. Now you're going to be a bad baseball team and not have one of the top hitters in your lineup to make a point. Yeah,
and here's the thing. Pete Abraham of the Boston Globe put out, he said, Red Sox sources said the team's feeling was that a $313.5 million contract comes with responsibilities to do what is right for the team, and Devers did not live up to those responsibilities.
Yeah, I'll have this question for you, Stacey. The Red Sox didn't march to that same beat when they had Manny Ramirez in the team, because Manny Ramirez wasn't the most team-friendly kind of guy, and they gave him a boatload of money, but as long as he was hitting 50 homers and 130 RBIs a year, they didn't really seem to care back then. But now all of a sudden it bothers them. And again, this makes no sense to me because, yeah, the money is something, sure, but I don't think, then tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think giving a guy a contract that size means that he needs to abide by all your rules and that doesn't mean he's a team leader. You're not paying him to be a team leader. You're paying him to hit the baseball. And some guys you pay that extra money to be a leader, right? Aaron Judge deserves that extra money because he is the team leader. Some guys just aren't that. Some guys just aren't team leaders. And if Devers isn't that, that's totally fine. You don't got to be a team leader. Go hit 310 and give me 40 and 100 and don't lead all you want. That's what they're paying him for. I don't understand this. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and it's, it's been the Red Sox MO for years to trash the outgoing player. Usually, I would say like 95% of the time so they're doing it again. I mean, they were basically, the stuff was coming out with what you said earlier about him not wanting to move positions because they got Bregman. And I can understand from his point of view, you just signed me to this big contract and then you bring this other guy in to play my position and you're like, okay, go play first. No, I'm not going to play first. I want to play third. You gave me $313 million. I want to play third. So I could see it from his point of view as well. They just...
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you're the Red Sox, you have an obligation out there to put on the field the best team imaginable. And if you're going to trade, I'm not saying trading Rafael Devers is the worst move ever, because I'm sure in another light, you can get a lot back for him. It's the package they get back for a player like this makes no sense. It doesn't add up. Why would you get back essentially nothing for one of the top tier players in all of baseball? That's what makes them. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm surprised more teams weren't in on this. Looking at what the package was, I'm shocked the New York Mets weren't in the Red Sox DMs saying, "Hey, what do you want?" I'm shocked the Dodgers weren't in.
Yeah, that's right, because also shocking too. Yeah, because when I saw Giants, I was like, huh.
And there were not rumors around this. No one was talking about it really.
Out of nowhere.
So that's what's interesting to me too, is if you're the Red Sox, and we see this a lot in baseball lately, but if you're the Red Sox, why not create a bidding war? Why not make him available and make all these teams come out and get? They were willing to get rid of him so badly. This is the package they got. You're telling me they couldn't have got more from somebody? They absolutely could have. I don't get this. It makes no sense to me. This is the second time, and I know what you're thinking. Poor Boston sports fans. How do they get over it? This is the second time in the last decade the Red Sox have traded away their best player for nearly nothing. Because they did it with Mookie Betts, and now they did it with Rafael Devers. Just to clear money.
And they're playing this weekend in San Francisco. So that'll be an interesting...
I'll tell you what's really interesting, too. So I don't know if anyone else realized this. I believe, is it Tuesday? Garrick Cole is going to be on the Yes Network broadcast, which is super cool. Like, worth the listen just to hear a pitcher talk you through a game like that. That is absolutely awesome. But I can't wait. And I know Kay will ask him this. I'm not really afraid of it. I can't wait for Kay to ask him how he feels about Rafael Devers not being in the division anymore, because Devers just owned Garrick Cole.
The numbers that man has against his OPS is like 1410 against Garrick Cole with like 8 or 9 home runs. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely Garrick Cole. That was the best Father's Day gift for him that he could get.
And so, I mean, for any Yankee fan, again, getting swept by the Red Sox, not enjoyable. But I'm assuming if you went up to that series and you're really upset that you watched your team get swept and you're driving home from Boston right now, you're really, really feeling a lot better knowing that Rafael Devers is not in the division anymore.
Yeah. Bye. Don't let the door hit you.
Yeah. Sorry. See you later.
All right. Well, coming up, we're going to preview the Yankees and Angels series, which begins tonight. And we're going to take a short look around the league next.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. And whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for that extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts available on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, you can use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Stacey, not only do we cover your team every day, but we're also giving all of our fans instant episodes after every single game. You can check out the Locked On Yankees Postcast. It's hosted by Jay Berman, and it premieres right here on the Locked On Yankees podcast feed, as well as streaming all over their YouTube channel. Get rapid reaction to all the biggest moments with the Locked On Yankees Postcast. And I'm sure on the Postcast, they broke down not only the Yankees getting swept by the Red Sox, but then reversal, Rafael Devers being traded across the country to San Francisco. I can't get over it. One of the craziest moves I've ever remembered seeing. Out of nowhere trades. You never really see trades in June in baseball, let alone one of the best players in all of the league. But listen, I'm here to celebrate anytime the Boston Red Sox want to willingly get worse. So I got no problem with it.
Yeah, it's like I said, I really thought I thought I was seeing things. But what do you mean Devers to the Giants? Like what
This team had Mookie Betts and Rafael Devers in the same lineup at one point. Now both play on the West Coast in the NL West. So none of this is making sense. We're really all over the place. I don't get it. But from the NL West to the AL West, that's who the Yankees will play in their series against the Angels. Now, they played the Angels really well when they were in Anaheim. What was this? Maybe a month ago when they played their West Coast trip. So they played them well there. Anaheim is not a terrific team, as we know. And it looks like, although they reported that Stanton was going to be back on Friday, he didn't appear in the Red Sox series, but he did stay in New York. So it looks like Monday or Tuesday he'll be in the lineup for the Yankees, according to Aaron Boone. So he'll be in the lineup. It looks like they could use the offensive lift too.
Yeah, they didn't have him play in Somerset because it was wet, rainy. They didn't want him slipping all over the place. So he was working out with the Trajex machine, and they were modeling it after the Angels pitchers that he was going to face if he's in the lineup. So yeah, Boone said either Monday or Tuesday, but hallelujah, can't wait to see him back in the lineup. Even just having him in the lineup.
Oh, yeah. We've said this before, too. Every time people complain about Stanton with his low average, even the year that he was hitting under 200, just his presence and the other pitcher knowing what he can do with one pitch is enough to distract guys and be something in the middle of that lineup. So I have no problem with I love Giancarlo Stanton. I can't wait for him to be back because he's one of those guys. He's so good and so powerful. He could finish the year with 30 home runs and I wouldn't be that shocked.
Right.
That's how good he is. So, and from the point he's at right now. So, and honestly, as long as he's in the lineup in October, that's all that really matters.
Exactly.
Monday's game will be a 7:05 start. That'll be on Yes. Clark Schmidt will go. He's 3-3 with a 3.60 ERA. He'll get Jose Soriano, who's 4-5 with a 3.86 ERA, which, by the way, is the most Anaheim Angels stat line of all time. Starting pitcher, 4-5 with a good ERA, 3.86, but has 5 losses somehow. Yeah, because that's the Angels.
And then on Tuesday, another 7:05 start on Yes. Will Warren, 4-3 with a 4.86 ERA against Kyle Hendricks, who's 4-6 with a 5.20 ERA. And again, Garrick Cole will be in the booth that night, so it'll be cool to hear him talking about Will Warren and how Will Warren pitches. Because as we all know, Cole is the de facto pitching coach right now because he's obviously not playing. So when he's in the dugout, you see him talking to the guys.
Oh, yeah. And Will Warren has credited Garrick Cole with a lot of his success this year so far. So it'll be really cool to have Cole in the booth for that game specifically. Could probably give a lot of insight on what's changed for Will Warren because even though the ERA is a little high for Warren, he's certainly been a lot better than anyone could have expected. And the strikeout pitch is there. He's striking guys out left and right this year, which was not a theme for Warren early on in his career. So, and if there's one guy that knows how to strike guys out, it's definitely Garrick Cole. So, yeah, they've definitely solved that for sure. That's going to be a very fascinating broadcast. Mm-hmm. And then Wednesday, you'll get a Prime Video game, 7:05 again. Ryan Yarbrough, who's 3-1 with a 3.96 ERA. It's inflated a little bit. Versus Jack Kachanowicz. Did I get it? Wow, I'm so good. 3-8 with a 5.53 ERA on the season. Got to beat these teams. And you know, there won't be the urgency probably because it's the Angels and it's a Monday through Wednesday series. You got to beat these teams. No excuses here.
Yeah. I'm also sick of Fox games. We're not going to have another one this coming weekend, right? Because it's been a month.
I don't believe so.
Games. It's been 4 straight weeks.
It's a lot.
I'm sick of it. It's enough.
Yeah. We don't need it.
So the one thing from around the league that I want to discuss, the Dodgers and the Giants played this weekend, and the Dodgers beat up on the Giants on Saturday to the tune of, when I saw it, it was 11-0. Is that how it ended? Do you know? Because I wasn't really paying attention, but I did see when Kik Hernandez has become a relief pitcher for the Dodgers because he's been in a few games this season as a relief pitcher, but he recorded his first strikeout of the season on Saturday against the Giants.
11-5 they won.
Okay, so the Giants decided to score some runs, but he did record his first strikeout, so good for Kik.
Some of these guys can really pitch. I mean, if you saw too, Joey Gallo is like currently training to become a pitcher and like legitimately training. And apparently, he throws gas. Yeah. So I mean, he's training to become a pitcher. By the way, next weekend you don't get a Fox game, so you're relieved. But you might like this less. They have on Sunday an 11:35 a.m. start against Baltimore at Yankee Stadium, and that is a Roku game.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's a little interesting. You need to have a Roku to watch that game.
Yeah,
I don't know if it also broadcasts on Yes. I'm not sure.
I have a Roku, but I know, so I'm okay.
Yeah, but an 11:35 a.m. start.
Yeah, like the Peacock games were a couple of seasons ago. That's a brunch game.
I like it because I'm up. I'll have coffee in my hand. I'm good to go. Like especially on a weekend, I'm fine with that. But I don't know how many. I guess if you have kids, it's great though, right? Because they're up early in the morning anyway. You get into the game, it tires them out, and you bring it. That's got to be great if you have children. But 11:35 is a little early. Yeah,
it's an interesting start. Angle of the sun is different at 11:35 compared to 1:35. Yeah, I don't mind it though. It's kind of like you're living on the West Coast in a way, because you know if you follow a West Coast team and they're on the East Coast for a weekend game and it's like a 1 o'clock start. Mm-hmm. It's like it's a brunch game, which is kind of cool because I know friends who always talk about that with football too. If their team is playing an East Coast or an Eastern team and they're playing a 1 o'clock start, they love it. They're like, oh yeah, I roll out of bed, I watch football, then my day's over. Like my day, I have the rest of the day.
It's a beautiful thing if you're ever in Vegas or LA and it's a football Sunday because you wake up, it's 9:30, you get a breakfast sandwich back up to the room.
Yeah.
At 10 a.m. games are starting. It's beautiful. You would think it's not great, and then you actually experience it, and you watch the Sunday night game at 4 p.m. and it's over at 7, and then you go to dinner. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I will tell you, it is really, I love it.
So weekend was bad, record-wise for the Yankees. And again, you don't want to lose. You don't want to get swept. First of all, we didn't even mention this. First time they got swept all season. So the fact that it took them till mid-June to have that happen is pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because other teams have been swept. So I think they were one of the last teams to not get swept in a series. So good for them on that count. But just annoying for them to go up to Boston and just do nothing. They did nothing. It was, again, pitcher's great, but the offense, you guys need to wake up.
Big time. But you know what? They got gifted more than they could possibly have imagined after it. So yeah, I think you trade the sweep for Rafael Devers not being there for the next 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless he pisses off the Giants and then they trade him in a couple of years because you never know.
To the Orioles or something.
Right. That could happen.
By the way, they'll play the Orioles next weekend in Yankee Stadium. The Orioles are now quietly 30-40 now. They have actually been heating up a lot lately.
Yeah, since you called them trash. So don't do that again.
Yeah, well, they are still trash, but they're 10 games under 500.
Here we go. Now they're going to sweep them.
I wouldn't be surprised. The Orioles still do have a negative 73 run differential.
No, I mean, the Orioles are going to sweep the Yankees now because you called them trash.
Yeah. It's not quite the Rockies minus 203 run differential.
Right.
But still, pretty bad.
Wow. Wait, even with the 10-1 win over the Braves, they're at 201?
Yeah.
Wow.
203.
Or 203?
Minus 203.
Wow.
The Athletics are minus 113, and then the Orioles are minus 73. But minus 203 is just a different kind of bad.
Yeah, just so you know, the Rockies lost 2 out of 3 to the Braves, but they beat up on the Braves on Sunday and won 10-1. And Braves fans were not happy about that at all.
How could you be? I mean, they played the Braves close all weekend, too, on Friday.
They really did.
They almost beat the Braves on Friday, and the Braves had to hit a home run late to come back. Ozuna hit one. I mean, the Rockies, I'll give them this. They are spunky. They're not good.
Right.
But they're going to catch a few teams on a few nights who don't take them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they deserve to be taken seriously, but they're going to catch a few teams a few nights.
Or they're going to catch a team who was traveling and then adjusting to the altitude and not be able to play.
Does happen. I actually I don't excuse the Yankees White Sox loss from last year. The Rockies loss I actually do excuse.
Yeah.
The Rockies are terrible, but it made sense getting off the plane.
Because even Clark Schmidt in his following start was like, yo, I could breathe this time.
Yeah. So that one I do get it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gonsoulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.